Hello, this is Bob Proctor. For the next few minutes, I'd like to talk about you. Just take a moment to reflect on your life. Think about yourself, how you're living and how you truly want to live. Listen closely, and you'll realize that you can, in fact, create your own economy. I understood this many years ago when someone said to me, "Bob, if you read this book and do exactly what I tell you, you'll have everything you want." I didn't believe it. But he did. And he was happy, healthy, and wealthy, while I was unhappy, sick, and broke. I had no formal education and no business experience. He said, "Bob, it doesn't matter. The past is behind you, and your future depends on the decisions you make." I said, "I know how to earn money, how to be happy, and how to stay healthy. If you do exactly what I tell you, your life will change." And you know what? It did. The following year, my income multiplied several times over. In fact, my life changed so dramatically that I made a decision. I would always have a mentor, a kind of coach. I'd find someone who was doing what I wanted to do, and then I'd follow their guidance. That's exactly what I did, and it's what I've continued to do for over 50 years. One day I wrote, "I will have a company that operates globally." And now, people watch me all over the world. I'll show you how to get things moving. Growth is a natural part of life. If something isn't growing, it's dying. If we're going to grow, we have to do something. We have to change. We can't improve results by living the same way. It just doesn't work like that. That man said to me, "Bob, change your mindset, and you'll change your life." I had never even considered that. I thought mindset was something for philosophers. He said, "You say you want more money." Yes, that was the one thing I wanted. I believed that if I had enough money, all my problems would disappear. I was earning very little, and I had a mountain of debt. I owed money to everyone around me, and it felt like I was living in a constant cycle of payments. You pay one bill, and another shows up immediately. And then he said, "There are a couple of things you need to understand if you want to become wealthy. They're simple, anyone can learn them. You need to know where you are, know where you're going, and then move in that direction." It's so obvious that you wonder why so many people stay stuck. And believe me, it's a lot of people. Most of them have nearly the same results as they did last year. Sure, maybe there's a slight difference, but it's minimal. With the potential we have within us, our results could be multiplied many times over, because we are the highest form of creation. Our mental faculties are astonishing. The obvious answer is that people lack a clear goal. I think that's often the case. But many do have goals, dreams. They just don't know how to bring them to life. I don't think that's the real issue. The real issue is understanding where we are. And most people truly don't know. Sure, they know where they are physically. Like, I'm standing in the middle of a field on a farm, for example. Or, I'm walking down Fifth Avenue in New York. They know their physical location, but mentally, they're lost. They don't understand why they keep getting the same results over and over. It's the same story repeating itself. He said, "I'll tell you why. It's because of your paradigm. Your paradigm." Then he said, "Bob, you need to learn how to manage the flow of intellectual energy. You need to let it move freely through you, and it will improve everything it touches. You see, energy flows to us and through us. You can actually photograph the energy coming off the body. I think you may have heard of this. It's called Kirlian photography. In 1934, a Russian researcher named Semyon Davidovich Kirlian developed a photographic technique that captures mass and shows the energy radiating from it. What we live in is a mass of energy. Did you know that the potential energy stored in the electrons of the atoms in our bodies is around 11 million kilowatt-hours per pound? We're basically walking atomic power plants, and we don't know how to direct that energy. But let's take a look at what a paradigm is. It's a psychological program that has near total, almost total, control over our habitual behavior. Think about that for a moment. Nearly everything we do is driven by habit. Our paradigms govern our lives. That's what I'm trying to explain. We're not really in control of our lives. People go to school and learn all kinds of things. Some even earn advanced degrees. They put those titles on their business cards. So yes, they've got intelligence. They have knowledge, but they don't apply it. Why do so many people graduate from university, still paying off student loans, and can't find a job? How is it possible to know so much and still have nothing to show for it? I'll tell you why. It's because of their paradigm. This is a fascinating subject. Everything here is clear-cut, no gray areas. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. I've been doing this for over 50 years. I know it inside out. If your paradigm doesn't change, your results will stay more or less the same, year after year. That's exactly what happens to most people. If you remember only one thing I say, let it be this. If your paradigm controls you, nothing will change. You can try to improve any area of your life, but if your paradigm is in charge, it won't work. You need to ask yourself, how do I control the flow? The truth is, we have the ability to choose. We have extraordinary mental faculties. So what does it mean to shift your paradigm? It's an interesting observation. The moment we force our paradigm to change, things begin to work. A long time ago, I tried to figure out what wealthy people do that sets them apart. I met very intelligent wealthy individuals, and it was clear why they were successful. But I also met others who weren't particularly brilliant, and they were wealthy too. It doesn't matter. Some are men, some are women. Some are young, some are older. They come from different nations, different cultures. And among all of them, you'll find both rich and poor. So what do the wealthy have in common? Almost without exception. I say, almost, because I'm not sure it's 100%, but it's close. They have multiple sources of income. Not just one. How many sources? I have income streams from all over the world, because I run a global company. I've mentioned that before. You can have passive income streams. You can earn money while you sleep. Just like I did last night. And the next night too. And you can do it as well. The key is to change your paradigm. There are two well-known ways to do that. Only two. A paradigm is like a program in our mind that governs our behavior. No matter how much we know, our actions are shaped by our worldview. So, the first method is the repeated exposure to new ideas, ideas that are essentially the opposite of your current paradigm. That's how paradigms shift. Your paradigm is, in essence, your worldview. Now the second method. It's less common. It's the experience of a powerful emotional shock. Let me give you an example. September 11th in New York. The towers collapsed. That was an emotional shock. Not for me, and maybe not for you. But it was horrific. Everyone agrees, it was a massive tragedy. It changed the paradigms of those who were directly affected, those who were in the area. In an instant, their lives were transformed. 7 people were impacted there. Their paradigms shifted. Thankfully, that kind of event is rare. So we're left with the first method, repetition. Now think about this. Why is repetition necessary to change your perspective? Maybe you've attended a seminar on how to shift your paradigm. I started reading this book 57 years ago. And I'm still reading it. It's open right here on my desk. Let me grab it. Ah, wait, it's already open. I've been reading these 2 pages for 3 months. Because I understand how paradigms change. It happens through repetition. And here's why. Take a look at this. Let's say the white line, here it comes, is my voice. The red line represents you listening to the sound of my voice. White line, my voice. Now think about it. You're sitting there, listening. But listening and hearing aren't the same. You can listen to me without actually hearing. Kids do this with their parents. Most people do this with their spouses. They listen, but they don't hear. And that's where conflict begins. Look again. The white line is the sound of my voice. The red line is you listening to what I'm saying. And then I say something, explain something, and suddenly, you drift off into a thought. These lines represent what we call thought frequency. You're physically present, but your mind is somewhere else, and while the white line keeps moving, you're not hearing. You're listening, but not hearing. Then you come back and continue listening. And then, boom, another thought pulls you away again. You see what I mean? That's why you can hear the same thing over and over and still say, "Oh, that's new. I've never heard that before." Or you're reading a book and say, "I don't remember this being here." It's because you're reading, your eyes are scanning the text, but your mind has wandered. Think about it. See those red dots? They mark the moments during a seminar when your mind drifted off. Let's say you came back. Now let's remove everything else and leave just the dots. What do you think the odds are that next time you hear the same thing, your thoughts will drift to the exact same place? It won't happen. You'll drift somewhere else. See? The chances of stopping at the same point are zero. An idea might grab you emotionally once, but next time, your mind will latch onto something different. Through repetition, everything in your life begins to shift. I didn't know that, but I started reading this book. Then I began listening to Earl Nightingale's recording back in 1961. What Earl said struck me so deeply, I couldn't stop listening. 10 years later, I was living in England. I was earning over $1 million a year. I had businesses in 7 cities, in Canada, the US, and England. I was making serious money. I asked myself, how did this happen? And I couldn't figure it out. I was raised to believe that to earn money, you had to be very smart. But I wasn't particularly smart, and yet I was earning a fortune. I was taught that if you didn't study hard, you wouldn't get a good job. But I didn't just have a good job, I owned the entire company. So much of what I believed turned out to be wrong. So how did I change so dramatically? It took me nearly 10 years to figure it out. And once I did, the only thing I wanted to do was teach it to others. I figured it all happened through repetition. I kept listening to the material, over and over. I started with vinyl records. Then came cassette tapes, and everything else. Now we have the internet. And it works the same way with people. That's why most who live on welfare are 3rd, 4th, even 5th generation in families that rely on it. They don't know anything else. From a very young age, they're programmed by the people around them. It's the same way we learn our language as we grow up. If I said, "Hi, I'm Bob. What's your name?" You wouldn't even know your name if your parents had only said it once. But they repeated it again and again, and soon enough, Bob. And you understood that's your name, right? I'm nearly 84, and I've got the energy of someone in their 30s. You see? Age doesn't matter. How old would you be if you forgot how old you are? Intellectual ability isn't the key here. Plenty of gifted people never make it. So what does matter? Your worldview. Your paradigm. Your mindset. Repetition. Again and again. And suddenly, your life begins to change. It's worth it. If you've watched this to the end, be sure to hit like, subscribe to my channel, it motivates me to make more videos like this, and drop a comment about how this law works for you. Thanks for watching.